Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. Now, um, this is not a planned event, but in my own witticism and criticisms and observations of the world, I just got to say, what is up with all of the talk about cannibalism? Now, people have been eating people for a long time, but let's be serious about this. You know, there are underground groups who have been eating people for a long time. I mean, there were folks after the Donner Party thing in um, California that year. Look up the Donner Party. I was there where the cabins are. It's just outside of Reno, actually, but it's at a high elevation. And I kind of think, oh, these people were stupid. I'd have went back down that damn mountain into Reno at least. But anyway. But there's a lot of talk more. There's more stuff in the news, which is just dead gum weird, strange, and to me, like what? Now, I grew up in the era of the 60s and the 70s. And for those of us who remember, Charlton Heston, and I think it was Edward G. Robinson, I think it was like one of his last movies that he was in, Soylent Green, and Soylent Green is people. Well, they're trying to get this thing to where, and all over the news in different places. Some of it's obscure, but in other stuff it's not. But here's the weird thing. If they're trying to get us to somehow, think that, cannibalism should be acceptable. Well, what if, what about them poor folks down there in Bermuda? What are they going to eat? Well, they're shooting each other now because there's so little food. So why aren't folks just hauling in, water and care packages and MREs? That, don't we have this stuff in warehouses somewhere? And why should it take so long? Why should they be shooting each other? But the thing is that they're trying to set up situations to where people will want to eat each other. Hi, Melanie. Hello, Bigelow. But the thing is that, and this is sarcasm, but at the same point, they're trying to set up a real situation here. I mean, they're actually trying to invite people. Well, what if we took dead people and helped turn it into stuff? They've already found human parts in hamburger and things. I mean, I refuse to eat a hamburger anymore. I mean, if it's ground meat, if I go down and buy a side of beef and I grind it up, or I have the butcher grind it for me, I know my hamburger's good. But if I ain't buying it from anybody else, I quit that stuff a long time ago. But the idea though that they're pushing this cannibalism thing. So in my odd way of looking at things, though, I want to throw in a little bit of witticisms and sarcasm. Okay. So does that mean if they're trying, well, if it gets to the point where, there's not enough food and all the storms have wiped us out and we're going to have to start eating each other. Okay. So who's first on the list? Who's going to taste better? Now, there's been a lot of sci-fi information over the many years. I mean, science fiction writers have been writing short stories and things. I've read things back in the late 60s and onward in science fiction, short stories and things where people have thought, what if? So one of the scenarios, like one day a week was hunting day. And, and for 2 hours, once a week, they could go out and hunt somebody and, boom, bang, did you hear, Mrs. Brown got knocked off by the Hendersons. They cut her up and put her in the freezer, and it's like, well, fair game. You got to have a license and it was fair game to shoot each other in the neighborhood, in town, wherever it was. And, and you could, if you were just in the wrong place, you could become dinner by somebody. Well, Pop didn't come home. Somebody must have got him. Well, I hope he tasted good. And it's like, well, wait a minute now. This sounds a little weird, but why are there so many different things that are like pushing cannibalism? And we already know that there are those evil beings who like to eat human beings, but they're not humans. And some of these things are hybrids. Some of these things are just, we don't know what they are. But, I've thought about it years ago when I was at Donner's Pass, and I've learned, and I've had known the story previous. But my thought about eating somebody else, I think I would rather just freeze and starve to death, and you can eat me if that's so, if that's the deal. But to the point, though, do I think that I could eat somebody else to survive, or kill somebody else and eat them? I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Well, I don't have any teeth, and so it'd be really difficult to chew them, but I'm sure I could throw them in a stew. But the thing is that, who would taste better? Well, okay. If people are, you know what? We know this girl down the street, and she's been a vegan for 15 years, man. Oh, wow. She ought to taste sweet. Well, we're going to get her. We're going to put her in the freezer. What? Are you serious? But here's the thing. I mean, folks are conjuring and doing this weird shit in their head, and it's being published in strange ways. And I'm like, no. I mean, I won't even shoot a deer or a rabbit. I got some pesky squirrels, though, been eating my pears, and it's true. If you feed a grain-fed cow versus a pasture-fed or whatever, they have a different taste. And if you've ever, my grandfather was a butcher, and my father was a meat cutter. He was a manager for a meat department for a major, like a Kroger store kind of thing for 20 years. So, I learned a little bit about the business over the years, you know what I mean? And so I've cut meat myself and hacked up chickens and cut ham and blah, 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 blah. But I was never into the butchering part. And neither was my pops. Now, granddaddy, that was the thing, because he grew up in the, the 20s and 30s, and butchering hogs and stuff out in the country. That's what you did to survive. So, but in each of these different lineations, but the thing is that even as hungry as they were, the Appalachian folks, they didn't decide to eat one another. No, they buried them. If somebody died, they didn't say, whoa, look, grandma's dead, we're going to have barbecue tonight. No, they buried her. There was respect. They would rather starve to death themselves than to eat each other. So, but why is this cannibalism thing? Well, we got to think this new world religion kind of stuff. You got to think what some of these people, if they're truly lizards, then we must taste wonderful. Now, I'm an old bony son of a bitch, and they'd have to probably masticate on me a while. But what about what about a 28-year-old vegan? Male or female, doesn't matter. Would they taste different? Wow, what. I'm just saying, I can't even fathom it, but somebody out there somewhere is thinking that, I don't want to have sex with her. I want to put her in the freezer. I got a barbecue out back that just, what? But the thing is that the more you see this cannibalism showing up, and in the strangest places, the Comet pizza thingy or whatever, that ping pong pizza, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that there are people out there who really do eat other people. That's just all there is to it. And, but why are they promoting it more? Are they going to somehow try to convince me that I need to eat a person, or, I'm going to get better protein if I eat somebody? Are you nuts? And I'm like, and I remember that Edward G. Robinson in Soylent Green, he was like, he said, no, you all don't know what you're eating. And he had stores of canned food, kind of like me in a way. And he lived in a dark cave out in the country, kind of like me, although I don't live in a cave, but my north side of my house is, never mind. But anyway, it's cave-like, in other words. But other than that, but so to the point, I didn't, prescribe my life after Edward G. Robinson, but after 45 years, after seeing the movie, blah, 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 at my age, I look back and I go, wait a minute, they're pushing, what are we going to do with people? What do they do with me? Homeless people are disappearing. Are they throwing them in a grinder and shredding them into pieces and, turning out chunks? Ooh, we got some new spicy wings and, we got some chicken nuggets. Want to try? It's the new white meat. Really? Wow, I've never tasted this. Yeah, it's called, hobo calf. Excuse me? Yeah, it's the calf leg of a hobo, you got to try it, man. They're really good. The hamstrings are a little tough, but, now understand I'm being sarcastic. I am not condoning this in any way, shape, or form. But you gotta stop and think about everything else that's been commercialized over the many years. Of all the things they've tried to convince us that's good for us, ooh, drink out of plastic. Never touch a glass bottle again, for God's sakes. No, we want to impregnate you with these plastics that are going to stick in your joints and end up in your brain cells, and so that'll just help us control you. But no, it's okay. We're not. Oh, and cell phones. Oh, if you really knew what the radio waves were doing to you, your body, your brain, and all the other part, the radiation, and but they don't include that in the instructions. But you buy a set of walkie-talkies, and there's 7 pages of warnings about radio waves and being around your head and your body. Please don't hold this against your body. Put it on your belt, put it on your backpack, keep it at arm's length. Oh, but people walk around with cell phones all the time. So, they've convinced us that there's nothing wrong here. So what are they doing with this discussion of cannibalism? Why does it keep propping up? So in my title, I'm like, well, does that mean that vegans will taste better? I don't want to find out. I have no intention. But to the point, though, it does make you want to stop and think, what the hell are these people going for? What are they up to? They've been messing with everything else. People disappearing all the time and have no trace where'd they go, or have they been abducted by aliens, or are they being abducted by people who like to eat people who like to eat people? They're the yummiest people in the world. Barbra Streisand, never mind. Change the lyrics there. But to the point, though, a little Al Yankovic there. But to the point, what are these crazy people up to? I don't know. I'm just here thinking, reading the headlines and checking things out and going, what the F is up with this stuff, y'all? What? Cannibalism here, there's something there. What are people going to be, what about we're going to grow, we're growing things in factories now. Well, we don't have to have cows in a field, which, trust me, there are plenty of fields that need cows on them, but that's another story. The chicken farms around here, oh my God, you wouldn't eat chickens anymore if you saw what lives around me. Millions of chickens live within a 5-mile radius of me, and that's not a joke. At least within a year, there are 1 million chickens that are around me. But anyway, but with that said, though, what about the cannibalism thing? Why is it showing up? And I have thought about this back when I was at the Donner Pass back in '99. And I looked around and I said, man, there ain't no way I'd have ate anybody. There ain't no way I'd have stayed up on this freaking mountain. I'd have froze to death in the snow before I'd ate somebody, But no, I'm sorry. It was bad and it was this, but I'd have made a sled, something, but I wouldn't have stayed around in the cabins and ate, Uncle Jack when he passed away. Nah. Nope. Sorry. I just don't see it. I might as well pick me, arm, a leg, maybe a thigh. And this is a little on the bony side on the left side, but to the point though. So anyway, I just wanted to throw a little bit of sarcastic humor out there, but about this, but at the same point, you got to understand there are people who are really thinking that, a yummy vegetarian. Ooh, doesn't do dairy. Well, they're a little tough, but hey, with the right sauce, and if you barbecue them slow enough, and bake, them vegans aren't half bad. Now, you give me one of them roly-poly guys that have been eating bacon for the last 20 years, and he's got this layer of fat on him. Man, you cut some of that backstrap off of him, it's going to be tender. Man, it's going to it's already going to be juiced, and it's going to taste like bacon, you know. And I'm thinking of some of my relatives, like, oh my God, bacon, oh boy. But you're going to taste, squirrel, if they eat a lot of acorns, have a tendency to have a nutty flavor. The squirrels in my yard and in the woods right there, they've been eating my pears. So if I was to get a little hungry and want to have some squirrel stew, they're going to taste a little kind of pearish. Like I've been marinating them in pears for a week or something. But anyway, but to the point. Hi everybody. You know me, I don't go into the chat until Brandy, Big Little Mew, Ian, how are you? Clandestine. Yeah, if I'm dead, I ain't gonna care if you eat me. Uh, yeah, sarcasm. Hi, Ian. Hello again to you, clandestine. According to Dante, cannibalism is common amongst our kind, so it makes sense that during times of desperation, humans eat humans. I'm sure they do, but my point is, maybe in another lifetime I did, but in this lifetime, I'm sorry, I'll starve to death. I'll find it. I'll find something to eat. I'll meditate. Something. I'm going to do something, but to eat somebody else. Here we go. Let's hack them up. No, you can eat me, but I don't think I'm going to be there. Big Little Mew said been a discussion about this. If you have to eat me to survive, you will. Yeah. If I'm gone, what's going to matter to me? My soul's going to be gone and everything. Jody says, hi, Jody, by the way. And I meant to answer your question, and I have been derelict in that. Can you be sure about anything we eat anymore? Genetically modified food, but modified in what way? Just curious. Clandestine says, Vlash mentality. Agreed. Having grown up in the business where my grandfather was a butcher and my pop was a meat cutter, he always got in full sides of beef, and they would cut them up and then pieces and a certain percentage of fat. Lean meat, you get an 80%, 90%, 96%, and that's the amount of fat that you get in with the lean meat. And you want to have some fat in there, but it needs to be the right kind. You just don't throw anything in there. Now, my pops used to grind all the hamburger at that where he worked. So he took a side of beef, so he knew what he was getting. He wasn't getting a big package of already ground beef. He would grind it himself and then sell it there in that store. So we always got good stuff. I mean, he would bring home steak that was a day old and couldn't be sold. And anybody who knows anything about aged beef tastes better than if it's nice and red and freshly cut. Oh my God, it's so much better. Buy a steak at the store, take it home and leave it in the bottom of your refrigerator for a few days and then cook it. Oh my God, it's so much better. But people throw them out after a couple of days going, it's getting a little green on top. Yeah, now it's ready to eat. Just kind of brush that off and cook that sucker. And people been eating aged beef for a long time and smoked pork, but it goes in a smokehouse. But anyway, but to the point though, I have a different understanding, but nowadays the butchers aren't there. There's a place here up in Moultrie. I don't know, it's some kind of beef thing, but they get cows in and cut them up, grind them up there, and then ship off to different parts of the country. National beef or something like that. Probably mostly Mexicans, but hey, as long as they're green card, I don't have a problem with that. As long as they're paying the same taxes that everybody else does, I'm on board. I don't care what country they come from. Well, there's some Chinese around here that aren't verified, but who checks them? But to the point though, National Beef has been around for a while up here in Moultrie, and they bring in big sides of beef and chop them up, do whatever process, and out they go again. So same thing with chicken parts around here. Um, Yeah, clandestine says if we are alcoholic, would we taste good or bad? Well, think about marinating something, in alcohol or some wine. It would depend on what kind of alcohol you drank. If you drank beer, well, maybe you'd taste like one of them roasted, one of them turkeys that you do with beer. Or you can do chickens too, but rednecks around here do a can of beer and stuff anyway. And it's really good, by the way. But um, Brandy says, "Hi, Brandy. I cook my seafood with beer. Depends on who you're asking." That's exactly right. You know, when I was down on the coast and we were getting fresh, good shrimp and stuff, a little bit of beer on some of the stuff, but a little bit fresh lemon on it. Yummy, yummy, and cooked over a grill. Oh my goodness. Um, Big Little Mew hamstrings. Oh, they're going to be tough. It depends. You know, if it's a little, never mind. Well, since I'm joking around, a little fat kid that's been playing Nintendo, he's probably kind of juicy. But I don't want to go there. I mean, because that's how they get. That's how they fatten up hogs. They put them in a pen. They don't move around a lot, and they get fat. It's called a fattening slab, for God's sakes. So it's a fattening couch. So maybe Nintendo was meant for kids to get fat and sloppy, so it'd be good for the aliens to eat. Who knows? Oh wow, look at it. And they've been eating popcorn. Woo, caramel corn. I'm kidding, but somebody out there is probably going yummy, where I'm going, this is gross. But hey, sometimes you gotta show the other side to be crazy. But yeah, Ian says spirit cooking has been in the headlines. Exactly. And for a while now. But and to the point, Ian, the word has changed from spirit cooking to cannibalism. The word cannibalism is showing up, not spirit cooking. But but to your point, oh yeah. They've been showing it to us. Katy Perry is lost. I saw her on a French radio interview. She said human flesh is blessed. Oh my God! Thank you, Brandy. But see, and there have been folks who have mentioned things over time that, like, you what? Never mind, not me. I mean, I live down here in the swamp, and I could I've been feeding the foxes, so they quit eating my chickens. I'm down to one chicken. I went from 11 to one. Anyway, but so. Lonely chicken. I got to fix that. But anyway, but I'm feeding the foxes because there's not enough ground. There's no wild dove anymore like there used to be. There are no quail. There are no ground animals that these predatory animals usually eat. And so if I can't find, a rabbit to eat because they're all gone, then I'm going to eat the fox before I eat a person. And I would have trouble eating a fox. I mean, I think I would rather eat a rat or a squirrel or something like that. But yeah, to eat another person, oh my goodness, Brandy says a lot of high ups are about to be busted. I'm hoping to. I keep my fingers crossed. Big Little Mew. I love sarcasm. Good luck. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I've got a strange wit and humor about me. I used to do a lot of comedy routines and stuff and puppet shows and theater. And sometimes I just, somebody said, Dave, you ought to be a stand-up comedian, because I would take a puppet and talk about stuff and politics, and people in the bars would just go crazy back in the day. But anyway, so this is a new venue, and something like this just kind of hit me the wrong way. Like, what the F are you people thinking about? Man, we got some, have you ever ate pickled people, toes, or, like pickled pig's feet? Have you ever, imagine somebody's toes in a big jar at the bar with some pickled eggs. What? Well, there's pig's feet in there, and we do ham hocks, and we do this and we do that. What is sausage? It's ground up crap in a skin of something, and trust, I still love sausage, but Polish sausage best anyway. Max Vision, it's good to see you. Randy says, a country boy. What? Oh, hey, Breaking Dawn. Yeah, I just having a sarcastic moment here. Boy, girl can survive. Yeah, I'll throw a line in the water. Yeah, but the problem is a lot of the different fish around here because of the chicken poo. I can't. It's hard to find fish anymore. I used to have them in my own backyard, my own river. Not so anymore. But that's pollution for you. Yeah, bacon says, Brandy says bacon makes everything taste better. It does in some ways, but I had to give up bacon once in a while. Jody says, is it safe to eat after beef? Um, I Now I'm not trying to promote Arby's, but I will. If it's sliced beef, then it came from a cow. You know what I mean? But there are things like little chicken nuggets that are actually pressed chicken scraps, and they're made into nuggets. And it's just like, well, but I eat beef before I'll eat anything else, maybe pork, but anyway. Ian says the butchers used to have the meat hanging around outside. Yep. Brandy, uh, Clandestine Ninja says Mexicans like myself have fought the wars overseas. We pay taxes, we fight. I know. And trust me, I'm not against Mexicans. I'm against the folks who come up here. And I've known too many people that have flown up here, had their babies for free, and then went back to Mexico. That just ain't right. But I have some very good Mexican friends that I've known, very hard workers. We love to play. I used to do puppet shows for the Mexican families down here in the South. And I mean, we had big parties. So I'm for Mexicans and the families and so forth. But some of these folks are just, and it doesn't matter that they're Mexican. It's sad that they are, because they're using a system that if they just joined like the rest of us, but anyway, I'm not against. I know many Mexicans who contribute, and that's a thumbs up. But many of them have taken advantage of our system, and there are white people who do it too. So, and I'm against them. So I understand that. Um, Good evening, Michelle. In Spain, it's now legal to eat human blood sausage. Yeah, I don't doubt that, Jody. I don't. Um, Michelle, Jody, yep. Um, Brandy says, my neighbor moved back. She's a badass horse barrel. Yeah. Clandestine Ninja says, strongest fighters in the world come from Mexico. Yeah, I know some great folks too. And talk about making flan. Oh my goodness. I still have some Mexican friends that I love to death. So, this ain't about all Mexicans. It's about people sneaking around and doing stuff, Big Little Mew says, I got something outlandish on my video tonight. My voice is not human. Uh, Mine isn't human either most of the time. Brandy says, I haven't tried pickled meat. Yeah. Polish sausage. Yes, Jody. Polish sausage. Um, Brandy says, Konoha sausage from Alabama. Yeah. And if you got good, honest to God, Cajun sausage, andouille, to get some honest to good andouille sausage. Oh my goodness gracious. Anyway, aged beef to eat. Yeah, aged beef. Yeah. And um, anytime you get a piece of meat, I mean, and I was taught this many, many years ago, the Germans and people over in Europe, they age their beef. They let it sit in the refrigerator, and then they cover it and everything like that. But as the meat sits, yes, it's sort of rotting, but it tenderizes itself. So what might have been a kind of a fairly tough steak left in the refrigerator for 5 days or longer. There are some places. There was a meat shop in Tampa years ago that had aged beef that was 2 weeks old, and I mean it was covered with green mold and stuff. And I'm like, yep. But you talk about tender and have a different taste. Oh my God. But you scrape it off and you rinse it but bake it, cut it, slices, whatever. If whatever that fungus was on the meat is going to be seared by the cooking. And now I always got rid of it, but to the point, aged beef is much more tender and much better and easier to digest. A lot of stuff like that. That's why they hung up the meat in the old days. One of the reasons in the shop. So, but anyway, um, Brandy, I have friends that are Mexican, Honduran, Cuban, you name it. I'm not cool with the paid terrorist. Yep, I got that too. Listen, everybody, I'm going to cut this short because Milky Way Weekly is on live now, and I want to switch over. I just got on here to be a little bit sarcastic. I love having you hang out with me. I do. And maybe after Milky Way gets through, I might come back on later on and just hang out and do goofy shit. Who knows? I got a lot of crazy shit on my head right now. But anyway, so we're going to switch over to Milky Way Weekly and listen in with him and support my brother Brian. I love you all I do. Remember to accept and receive the blessings and the healing from the universe. Always accept and receive. And I pray that you all will continue to accept and receive the blessings from the universe. Let's all keep together, give each other a cosmic hug, and let's go support our brother Brian. And until next time, I am your humble host, David Null, Mr. Hawkeye Two Feathers. And until next time, TTFN, my friends.